Hi, my name is Jake Masterson, and today with the review, I am going to be talking about a very serious issue to me. And if you've read the title, yes, I am serious. And having that title on, I will put out a trigger warning. The trigger warning is the international symbol of get out if you're easily offended. With this subject, it's going to be impossible to not preach on this, so there'll be another warning. Let me start off this video, yet again, by asking you this. Have you ever looked at the news and it seems like every other week there's a protest? Like, no matter what side you're on, there's always a protest to be had. There's nothing wrong with it. In fact, I like this. Everyone seems to care enough about something to take to the streets. And I like that. But if you're like me, then you've noticed a very disturbing trend amongst these protests. A trend so disturbing, it's where it can barely be called a protest anymore. You know what I'm talking about. Looting, setting things on fire, and violence. And that's where I draw a line with protests. No one should ever be silenced when it comes to talking about an issue. I saw headlines in 2016 that politicians from southern states were considering laws that would justify running over protesters, using violence to justify silencing someone's opinion. I was surprised that the party who speaks most about free speech would propose a law that would inevitably silence one's opinion of something. Which party is that? Well, it's hard to tell at the moment. The most recent example of deaths via protests in the US is Charlottesville. Luckily, nothing significant has happened that I've heard of that has resulted in a death of a protester. And I'm just getting started. In 2017, there are countless examples of conservative speakers' rallies being shut down on college campuses due to riots. The majority of these protests include speakers who, some could argue, have Nazi tendencies. I'm not gonna be here to talk about whether these guys are Nazis or not. I'm just saying that letting conservative speakers speak is a big part of this democracy. Also, liberal speakers as well. No matter how much we disagree with someone, we should always allow them to speak. PC culture seems to advocate for censorship of what they deem to be hate speech. Even if we do know what they mean by hate speech, context matters 100% of the time. So when they call for the banning of a book from a library, I'm upset because I want to know what they're banning it on and what context is it in. The hate speech laws that people are advocating for here in the United States are already in place in Europe, and that's what they point out. For these past 2 years, a man by the name of Count Dankula has made a video in which he made a dog, the cutest thing in the world, into one of the worst things in the world via a Nazi. He nearly got jail time for this video, and it was a joke. This world seems to be forgetting context matters. And it seems to be devolving into a dystopian dictatorship in which hate speech, by what they mean by it, is the only thing that matters. Without this clear connotation of what they mean by hate speech, it can be very easy to break these hate speech laws. This would take on a hypocritical stance on issues such as false imprisonment and freedom. What makes the false imprisonment claim even worse is the potential for a death penalty in this case. With certain news networks endorsing these ideas, it makes me think about how far a potential piece of legislation like that could go. Policies like these exist in Facebook and Twitter already. I'm surprised I haven't gotten banned. If the government hasn't already monitored us enough, what a hate speech law would do in order to truly be enforced is invade a lot of privacy. If such legislation is ever suggested, a lot of people will fear losing their jobs. Such a panic could cripple our economy. But thankfully, for the most part, this is all hypothetical and merely what I think would happen. So, it all really depends if society will care enough about this situation. And so, I ask you, what do you think? Am I right? Am I wrong? Let me know in the comments down below. I'm Jake Masterson, and I'll see you next time.